current level of prevalence of HIV in Zambia is at 14.3%. And this is specifically in the age group between 14 and 49. And so when you look at that age group, you're actually observing that this is one of the most productive age groups in our society.
Zambia sits in a region where we have 22 million people approximately living with HIV of the 33 million worldwide. Now within Zambia we have over 1 million people living with HIV is the estimate. Now this means that a bit less than 10% of people, 1 in 10 people, are living with HIV, which is a lot for any condition.
I found out that I was positive at 15, and I know that there are people that are being born today HIV positive, and I know that there are people who are my age at this time. This is when they're finding out about their status. And a message to people living with HIV, I mean, we really have to be responsible, especially the young people that is with sexual behavior, that is if we're sexually active. Always remember, you use a condom every time you have sex. I mean, you've heard that a number of times, and I guess we have to keep on saying it.
Zambia has been really successful in bringing treatment to people living with HIV. You know, now 70% of all women who are living with HIV and who are pregnant now have access to treatment. This means we're getting closer and closer to a real AIDS-free generation in Zambia.
First, I just want to say that we are extremely excited to be bringing Brothers for Life in Zambia. We're going to be working through the Brothers for Life to address certain issues related to HIV. One is the issue of people having multiple concurrent partners. The Brothers for Life is basically going to tell us that being a man does not mean that you should have many concurrent partners. Alcohol abuse, which also leads a lot of people to having unprotected sex, but also for men taking responsibility for working with their partners on prevention of mother-to-child transmission of HIV. So that is what we are hoping that Brothers for Life will help us in Zambia to make a dent on the continuing spread of HIV/AIDS in this country.
Brothers for Life campaign is being rolled out by UNICEF throughout the region. It debuted in South Africa in 2009 and had a major presence during the FIFA World Cup. It's being brought to Zambia this year, and it will soon be really scaled up in Tanzania and in Zimbabwe, and later in Kenya, hopefully. So the idea is that this campaign has great potential to lower the HIV prevalency rate, not only in Zambia, but throughout the whole region, which will hopefully save many, many lives, especially young lives.
What Brothers for Life is going to do for us is to redefine the meaning of being a man in Zambia. And I think that is what we are hoping that this will help us to do, to redefine the meaning of being a man in this country. And this will be done through using older men to speak to young people, using prominent people in this country to talk to young people on what responsible manhood means.
My feeling about becoming a Brother for Life ambassador is just a feeling of challenge for me. It's an opportunity at the same time, and I consider it as one way of voicing out my personal expectations about the people of this country, young people in particular.
I think it's up to us to try and make a stand and change behavior, change the way people treat women or mistreat women, protect the younger brothers and sisters, not just the brothers. And also, let's be examples. I think we have to be examples, because I know that my nephews and my young brothers are looking for an example. They can't find one, then I'm the one to blame. I'm the one to blame. So I think we have to. It's not just an option; it's an obligation. We have to make a stand.
I think we should make sure that we have single partner, and we just stop alcohol abuse, and try to be as real as we can, living up our lives, because we hold the future of the nation. And I believe if we, as young men in Zambia, stick to principles and being real men, we can develop our country.
When it comes to like the girls, the females, there's always this saying that guys are all the same, But then I'm the kind of guy who's always believed in do not date unless your intentions are to marry, and that's just my opinion. So I'm the kind of guy who believes in being faithful as well, not otherwise being a player as per se, and so Brothers for Life kind of has provided that platform, to kind of air my views and just let people know out there that there's also this kind of guy. There's also the guy who does not believe in having 6 girlfriends, and having sexual relations with any of them, So for me, it's kind of that platform.
If we're going to reduce these 80,000 new infections that we estimate per year, 226 a day. What do we know about how to do that? We know that there are some key drivers, immediate risks if you like, and they are people who are mobile, moving around, they seem to be at higher risk. We know that condom use is really low, particularly among long-term partnerships, for perhaps obvious reasons. We trust each other, why do we need to bother? We know that we can reduce the parent-to-child transmission, or vertical transmission we call it, where babies, many fewer babies can be born without HIV. We also know this issue of multiple partners. Having more than one partner at the same time is a big issue, but also just multiple partners, even one after the other, if you're not using a condom, if you're not taking care, can be a big issue. So we know these are the key immediate drivers. But those risks or drivers, they sit on a foundation of underlying factors in the society.
From time immemorial, people have always taken alcohol. The problem has been that over time, this consumption of alcohol has gone on to the extent that now it has been abused. So it's a big problem, both at family levels, community levels, even at society level. It's a huge problem.
Society overlooks gender-based violence, and so things like this are challenging, because you're going you have a head-on collision with society and what society terms as norms. I did allude to the fact earlier on, that one time I was at a club, some time back, way back, and one of my friends was telling another friend that he was having, domestic problems, obviously with his wife, and one of our friends said, that's because you don't beat her up, and it seemed that that was normal for him to say that. But then over the years, and as I had several mentors in my life, I also began to realize that certain things were wrong. At one point, I did think certain things were acceptable, by the way.
UNICEF recognizes that our strength in Brothers for Life, but all other things we do in this country depend on our strong partnership with other organizations. And so we're going to be working very closely, of course, with the government of Zambia through the National AIDS Council and other ministries that will be involved in this. We're going to be working very closely with all the UN agencies such as UNAIDS and also the UNFPA. We've been working with them. But we'll also be working with civil society organizations, whether they're NGOs and so on. But we also recognize that this is an area where the private sector can also come in to play a significant role. And of course, we'll be working with the media to get the message out to adolescents and young people.
You know, we got to look after ourselves, have some principles that you live by, and just remember that for everything you do, there will be repercussions, positive or negative, depending on whether you've taken a positive or negative step. It will be on your conscience. If you can't look after yourself, it will be you to blame. You are number one, and you got to look after yourself.
HIV issues are not going to be addressed by HIV strategies alone. And this is exactly why. We have to be broader, we have to be reaching out. What women can do is ask for what they want, is not tolerate that. But they do need the support of communities and their surrounding society. That isn't necessarily there just yet. Maybe more for younger women, maybe more for the educated, but it's really not there as a social norm just yet. This campaign can help to address some of that by showing what the man can do, but also what the woman can ask for. She can ask for the good guy. He's out there.
What I think makes a man is not necessarily age, you know, but it's like having knowledge and wisdom. And wisdom is to be able to apply the knowledge that you've gained, you know. And so you might be 42, you know, but then if you're not able to apply the knowledge that you've gathered all these years, then you're not wise. Hence, for me, you're not a man yet. And so what makes a man for me is, you know, having that wisdom to be able to reason, you know, what's wrong and what's right, to make the right decisions in life. And when you reach that stage, it doesn't matter, you might be 16, you might be 15, you might be 18, but once you reach that stage, then you're a man.
Young man, I'm saying this, we can't beat that great commandment. Love God, your Creator, with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your mind, with all your strength. That's how you relate to your Creator. That's how you relate to that one made in His image like you. The commandment is, love thy neighbor as thou lovest thyself, meaning do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Where this commandment or these commandments are obeyed and followed and lived, there's peace, genuine peace. Where they are not observed, there's chaos, disaster, death. So I would say to young people, please, these commandments are extremely important. Do everything possible to learn from them, to learn about them, to learn from them. I think that's advice I can give.
So as the National AIDS Council, we consider HIV/AIDS really as part of the greater developmental agenda. Because why we do so is because we notice that if we don't handle HIV in that comprehensive nature and with a broader outlook, we will continue to lose the gains that are actually scored at various levels. Right now, Zambia is doing fairly well economically, but the skill that is contributing to this good economic performance can easily be lost through people whom we might lose as a result of HIV if we do not really work hard enough to bring this under control. In the end, we want to see the numbers of new infections going down. And with that in mind, I would like, on behalf of the National AIDS Council, to welcome the Brothers for Life campaign and trust that it will open a new page in our chapter of making sure that we have zero new infections and zero deaths that are related to HIV.
There comes a time when a boy becomes a man.
A man leads by example.
A man knows that he must take responsibility for the future.
Through his thoughts and through his actions.
A man knows that his self-worth is not determined by the number of women he can have,
but by his strength of character and his duty to others.
A man never takes chances with HIV and will always use a condom.
A man supports his partner
and protects his children.
A man respects his woman
and never raises a hand to her.
A man is not afraid to get tested for HIV
so that he can know his status
and protect his health and that of his partner.
A man knows that the mistakes of yesterday
can be corrected by the actions of today
to determine our tomorrow.
I am a man.
And you are my brother.
Do the right thing. Be a brother for life. For more information, call the free confidential talk line 990 from your Airtel or Zamtel line.
Somebody to dry your tears when you cry. Whatever it is, I promise you I will be your brother for life. I've come a long way since my adolescence to be the man I am today. I've learned so many lessons. I learned my health is my wealth, so I take care of myself, and I make sure I never have sex without protection. Cause there comes a time when a boy becomes a man. First we crawl, then we learn to stand. And when we grow up in life, we understand. That's why I care and that's why I try.
I had a girl named Lisa and a girl named Keisha and another named Maggie, body man in a ginger. Cause a real man knows that his worth isn't measured by how many women he's got. Now I know what I mistakes of yesterday can't be corrected by the actions of today. I know my HIV status, nothing to be afraid of. I hope you know yours too.
Whenever you need me, I'll be by your side. Somebody to dry your tears when you